The Galactic Council chamber was louder than usual that day. Hundreds of alien leaders filled the massive hall. Some had scales, some had fur, some had glowing skin. They sat in tall, curved rows that reached high toward the shining ceiling. Bright lights floated in the air. A giant hologram of the galaxy slowly turned in the center of the room, and standing alone on the floor, below them was a human ambassador. He stood straight, calm, still. For 20 years, humanity had served the Federation. They had protected trade routes from pirates. They had repaired broken colonies. They had shared medical knowledge. They had even sent their fleets to fight wars that were not their own. They had done everything the Council asked. And now, after 20 long years, they had asked for one thing in return: equal status, equal vote, equal voice. The answer had just been given. No. The word echoed through the chamber. Some species clicked their jaws in agreement. Others whispered to each other. A few looked uncomfortable, but most did not care. To them, humans were useful, but not equal. The human ambassador did not react at first. The council speaker, a tall, silver-skinned being, leaned forward. "Humanity must understand," the speaker said, voice calm but cold. "You are young. Your species is emotional. You are not ready for equal authority." A few aliens laughed quietly. The chamber waited. They expected anger. Humans were known for strong emotions. Many thought the ambassador would shout, maybe threaten to pull back military support, maybe warn the council of consequences. But the human did none of that. He simply looked around the chamber. His eyes moved slowly from one leader to another. He did not look angry. He looked disappointed. That made some of them uneasy. Finally, he spoke. His voice was quiet. "We understand." That was all he said. No argument. No protest. He pressed a small device on his wrist. The human emblem on his chest dimmed. Then he turned around, and he walked toward the exit. The massive doors opened with a deep metallic sound. For a moment, the chamber was silent. Then the whispering started. "That is it. He gives up so easily. Humans are dramatic. He will be back." The doors closed behind him. The council moved on to the next topic. They thought the matter was finished. It was not. Within 1 hour, something strange happened. All human representatives in Federation space stopped responding to messages. Embassies went dark. Human trade stations powered down their public signals. Military communication channels went silent. At first, it was seen as a small protest, a temporary action. But then reports began to arrive. Human patrol ships had left their assigned sectors. Cargo vessels turned around mid-route. Joint human-alien research stations reported that human staff were leaving without explanation. No fights, no arguments. They simply packed their equipment and left. 3 hours later, the first emergency alert reached the council. The Outer Rim trade lane had lost human escort ships. Pirate activity increased almost immediately. Insurance prices began to rise. The council speaker ordered a message sent to Earth. "Clarify your intentions." No response. Another message was sent. Still nothing. By the end of the day, every human-controlled system inside Federation space had gone into communication blackout. It was not chaos. It was organized, careful, planned, and that was when fear began to grow. On the third day, long-range scanners detected something impossible. Human fleet movements. Not random, not scattered, coordinated. Massive carrier groups were leaving Federation territory. Colony ships, supply ships, warships, all moving toward the outer edge of known space. Not in panic, not chased, but in perfect formation. The data shocked military analysts. This was not an emotional reaction. This was strategy. The council called an emergency session. The chamber that once felt powerful now felt tense. "What are they doing?" One leader demanded. "Relocating assets." Another answered. "Why?" No one had an answer. A small insect-like species representative spoke softly. What if they prepared for this? The chamber grew quiet. Prepared? That would mean humanity expected rejection, expected disrespect, expected this outcome. The thought was uncomfortable. because it meant the humans had already made their decision long ago. On the fifth day, the first outer colony reported total system failure. Human engineers had built most of their power cores. Without maintenance codes, systems began to fail. Another colony reported medical supply shortages. Several smaller species asked the Council for emergency assistance. The Federation fleets were strong, but they were not built for logistics. Humanity had handled that, and now humanity was gone. Still no message. Still no explanation. Just silence. 1 week after the vote, the Council finally realized the truth. Humanity had not reacted in anger. They had reacted in certainty. The human ambassador's last words echoed in many minds. We understand. They understood they were not equal. They understood they were only valued as tools. So they chose something else. They chose to leave. Not loudly, not violently, but completely. And the galaxy, for the first time in decades, began to feel something new. Not power, not control, but dependence and regret. Because silence can be louder than war. And humanity had just spoken the loudest message of all, without saying another word. At first, the galaxy tried to stay calm. The Council speaker told every member species the same thing. This is temporary. Humanity is reacting emotionally. They will return. Many wanted to believe that. Humans had always been passionate, quick to anger, quick to forgive. Surely this was just pride. Surely they would cool down. But 5 days passed, then 10, and humanity did not return. The first real problem began in the outer trade lanes. Human escort ships had protected cargo routes for years. They were known for being fast, brave, and aggressive against pirates. Without them, trade convoys moved slowly. Pirates noticed. Within 1 week, attacks increased by 40%. Within 2 weeks, entire cargo fleets vanished. Insurance companies collapsed under the cost. Small merchant species began to panic. Food shipments were delayed. Medical supplies ran late. Fuel prices doubled. Still, the Council told everyone to remain calm. We have strong fleets, they said. But strong fleets were not the same as human fleets. Human commanders were known for doing the unexpected. They studied their enemies deeply. They adapted quickly. They did not fight with pride. They fought to win. Now those commanders were gone. Then came the power failures. Several Federation colonies relied on human-built fusion cores. The systems were advanced and efficient, but only human engineers knew certain deep maintenance codes. At first, small errors appeared. Lights flickered. Temperature systems failed. Then one major colony lost its central power grid. Hospitals went dark. Defense shields shut down. Emergency calls flooded the Council chamber. Send engineers. But there were no engineers trained for this. Human technicians had quietly left weeks earlier. They had followed a silent recall order. The Council did not even know when it was sent. A secret report reached the Council military division. Human shipyards across Federation space were empty, not destroyed, not attacked, simply empty. Equipment removed, data wiped, even spare parts were gone. It was clean, organized, planned. The more the Council investigated, the more uncomfortable they became. This was not anger. This was preparation. Humanity had been preparing to leave for a long time, maybe years. On the border of Federation space, long-range scouts made a discovery that caused true fear. Human fleets were not scattering randomly. They were regrouping beyond the outer rim. Massive formations were gathering in deep space. Carrier groups, defense platforms, colony ships, and something new, something larger than any Federation battleship. The images were unclear, but the scale was obvious. Humanity was building something, and they were building it far away from Federation control. Inside the Council chamber, arguments exploded. One species demanded sanctions. Another suggested sending a military task force to force negotiations. But the military advisors quickly warned against it. Nearly 30% of Federation fleet systems were designed with human support, targeting software, supply chains, repair docks, even communication relays. Removing humanity had weakened them more than anyone realized. If war started now, The Federation would not be ready. The truth was painful. They had depended on humanity too much, and they had treated them too little. Meanwhile, smaller species began to make quiet decisions. Several minor trade alliances announced temporary withdrawal from Federation agreements. They feared instability. They feared being left unprotected. One small aquatic species made a bold move. They sent a private message to Earth. It was not a demand. It was not an order. It was a question. Is there a place for us with you? There was no public reply. But Federation intelligence later discovered that several ships from that species vanished from known space, heading toward the outer rim. 2 months after humanity left, something worse happened. A hostile alien empire on the far border began testing Federation defenses, small raids, probe attacks. Nothing large, just enough to measure response times. Human patrol zones had once been the strongest line of defense in that region. Now those zones were empty. Federation fleets scrambled to cover the gap. They were slower, less coordinated. The enemy noticed. For the first time in decades, the galaxy looked weak, and everyone knew why. The council speaker finally sent an official high-priority transmission to Earth. It was carefully written, diplomatic, polite. We request dialogue. The message traveled across space. Hours passed, then days. Finally, a response signal returned. The chamber fell silent as the transmission opened. There was no video, no face, no symbol, only text, one sentence. Humanity has chosen a different path. Nothing else. No anger, no threats, just calm certainty. That frightened them more than rage ever could, because rage can be negotiated, anger can be cooled, but certainty? Certainty means a decision is final. In the quiet of the council chamber, one elder representative spoke softly. We believe they needed us. The words hung heavy in the air. Another answered. It seems we needed them more. No one argued. For years, humanity had asked for equal status, equal respect, equal voice. They had been denied. Now they were showing what equality truly meant. It meant they could survive without the Federation. The real question was, could the Federation survive without them? Beyond the outer rim, human fleets continued to gather, silent, organized, growing stronger every day. And the galaxy began to understand something terrifying. Humanity had not left in weakness. They had left in strength. And by the time the galaxy realized its mistake, it might already be too late. The Federation believed it understood humanity. They believed humans were emotional. They believed humans acted fast and without long planning. They were wrong. 3 months after humanity left, a classified investigation report reached the council chamber. It was marked urgent. Only high-ranking leaders were allowed to see it. Inside the sealed meeting room, the lights were dim. The air felt heavy. A large hologram of human space floated above the table. The Federation intelligence director began to speak. We have uncovered something important, he said slowly. Humanity did not leave suddenly. This was planned for many years. The room went silent. He touched the hologram. Red markers appeared across multiple systems. Hidden shipyards, he continued, built in deep space, outside trade routes, outside our scans. More red markers appeared. Private mining colonies, secret supply depots, independent fuel stations. A leader from a reptilian species hissed in disbelief. That is impossible. We monitor all major construction. The director shook his head. They built them slowly, small parts, over time. Nothing large enough to raise alarm. The truth settled like cold ice. Humanity had not reacted in anger. They had prepared for rejection long before it happened. Another discovery followed. For the past 5 years, human universities had changed their education focus. More students trained in logistics, more trained in colony management, more trained in deep space survival. Less focus on Federation cooperation, more focus on independence. The signs had been there. The Federation simply never looked. Meanwhile, beyond the outer rim, something massive was forming. Federation scouts pushed their ships further than ever before. They risked detection to gather information. And what they found shocked them. In a dark region of space, far from known star maps, a new network of stations had appeared. Massive rotating habitats, defense platforms, energy collectors around a young blue star. Human ships moved between them with perfect order. There was no chaos, no confusion. It looked like a civilization being reborn, a new beginning. One scout whispered over the secure channel, "They are not refugees. They are builders." Back in the Federation, problems continued to grow. The hostile empire on the border increased its attacks. This time, not small probes, full-strike fleets. Without human patrol routes, response times were slower. 2 outer colonies were lost within weeks. The Federation Navy fought bravely, but they were stretched thin. A military commander finally said what others feared to admit: "We built our defense system assuming humans would always be there." No one argued. At the same time, more minor species disappeared from Federation records. Trade vessels vanished. Colonies shut down. Some left quietly in the night. Intelligence traced their path, all heading toward the same direction. The Outer Rim, human space. The Federation tried to contact them. No reply. It seemed humanity was offering something the Federation never had: respect, equal voice, protection without control. The idea spread like fire. The Council finally made a difficult decision. They would send a direct envoy beyond the Outer Rim. Not a demand, not a threat, but a request. A small diplomatic fleet was prepared. It carried no heavy weapons, only communication equipment. As the fleet crossed a known boundary of Federation space, sensors immediately detected human ships. Dozens. They did not attack. They did not retreat. They simply matched speed. Silent escorts. The Federation ships felt small beside them. After several hours, a communication request came from a human fleet. Audio only. No image. A calm voice spoke. "You have entered sovereign human territory. State your purpose." The Federation envoy swallowed. "We seek dialogue." There was a pause. Long. Uncomfortable. Finally, the human voice answered. Dialogue was available before. The channel remained open, but no further words came. The message was clear. This meeting was not happening on Federation terms. Back in the council chamber, tension rose to breaking point. Some leaders demanded stronger action. They feared losing influence, feared losing power. But others began to understand a deeper truth. Humanity had never threatened war. They had never attacked. They had simply withdrawn their strength. And by doing so, they revealed how fragile the Federation truly was. One elderly representative spoke softly. "We believe we control the future." He looked at the hologram of the growing human territory. But perhaps the future has chosen a different center. Days later, the diplomatic fleet received final instructions from the human command. They were allowed to approach one station. One. No weapons powered. No scanning of sensitive areas. When the Federation ships arrived, they saw something unexpected. Ships from other species were docked there. Species that once stood silent in council meetings. Species that were often ignored. Now they stood beside humanity, working together, freely. The Federation envoy understood in that moment. Humanity had not just left. They had created competition, a second path, a different way to lead. And that was more dangerous than rebellion, because rebellion can be crushed. But a better alternative? That spreads. As the envoy prepared to speak to human leaders face to face, one thought echoed across the Federation. If humanity grows stronger outside the system, and others join them, then one day soon, the Federation will not be the center of the galaxy anymore. And when that day comes, it will not be humans who beg. The Federation had never known fear like this. For centuries, it had been the center of power, the voice of law, the symbol of unity. Now it felt fragile. 6 months after humanity left, the cracks were no longer small. They were everywhere. Trade had slowed across half the galaxy. Without human shipping routes, delivery times doubled. Without human repair crews, space stations aged faster. Without human engineers, advanced systems began to fail. Factories shut down. Colonies rationed power. Medical shortages spread quietly. The council stopped speaking with confidence. Now they spoke with worry. The hostile empire on the border attacked again. This time, it was not a small raid. It was a full invasion fleet. 5 outer colonies were targeted at once. Federation warships responded as fast as they could, but they were too far apart, too slow. Human fleets had once guarded those sectors. Human captains had once predicted enemy moves before they happened. Now those sectors were empty. 2 colonies fell in 1 week. Billions of lives were lost. The news shook the entire galaxy. For the first time, citizens openly asked the question, where are the humans? The answer was simple, gone. Inside the council chamber, leaders no longer argued about pride. They argued about survival. The speaker stood before the assembly, voice heavy. We must open full negotiations with humanity. Some protested. They abandoned us. But another leader answered sharply. No, we pushed them away. Silence followed, because everyone knew it was true. A new message was prepared. Not cold, not formal, not distant. This time it was honest. We recognize our mistake. Humanity deserves equal voice and equal authority. We invite you back as full partners. The message was sent beyond the outer rim. Days passed, then weeks. Finally, a response came. Again, text only. We appreciate the offer. Humanity has chosen self-determination. Nothing more. No anger. No insult. Just calm independence. And that calm hurt more than rejection. Meanwhile, reports from the outer rim became more shocking. Human territory had expanded rapidly. Massive shipyards floated in orbit of distant stars. New defense grids protected entire systems. Trade routes formed between human space and smaller species that had joined them. Those species were not treated as lesser. They had voting rights, shared command, equal standing. The Federation intelligence team confirmed something painful. Human space was stable, prosperous, growing. They were not struggling without the Federation. They were thriving. Back inside Federation space, unrest grew. Some minor species began to question their membership. If humans can build their own alliance, they asked, why can't we leave too? The idea spread. The Federation had always believed unity was permanent. Now unity looked fragile, dependent, conditional. A second diplomatic fleet was sent to human space. This one was larger, not as a threat, but as proof of seriousness. When it arrived at the human border, it was stopped again by silent human warships. The envoy requested direct visual contact. After a long pause, the request was granted. For the first time since humanity left, a human leader appeared on screen. She wore a simple uniform. No medals, no decoration. Her expression was calm. Behind her, large windows showed a growing human station orbiting a bright star. The envoy spoke carefully. The Federation is facing collapse. We ask for assistance. We ask for partnership again. The human leader listened without interrupting. When the envoy finished, she spoke softly. For decades, humanity asked for respect. We were denied. Her voice did not rise. We protected your borders. We repaired your worlds. We followed your laws. She paused. And when we asked to stand beside you, you told us to stand behind you. The envoy lowered his gaze. The truth was clear. We do not wish you harm, she continued, but we will not return a chains made of polite words. The screen went dark. Back in the council chamber, no one spoke for a long time. They had expected negotiation, conditions, demands. But humanity was not demanding anything. They simply refused to return. That was harder to fight, because you cannot force someone to need you, and humanity no longer needed them. Then came the final shock. The hostile border empire sent a transmission to both the Federation and human space. It was a declaration. They planned full expansion. Total war. The Federation prepared for disaster. But something unexpected happened. Human fleets moved, not toward Federation space, but toward the hostile empire. They did not coordinate with the Council. They did not request permission. They acted alone. Within weeks, Reports confirmed that human forces had struck deep into enemy territory. Precise attacks, strategic targets, supply lines destroyed, shipyards eliminated. The hostile empire suddenly stopped advancing. The message was clear. Humanity would defend the galaxy, but not under Federation command, not as lesser members, not as tools. They would act when they chose, on their own terms. For the first time, the Federation understood the true cost of pride. They had lost not just an ally. They had lost leadership, influence, trust, and maybe in time, their position as the heart of the galaxy. Because beyond the outer rim, a new center of power was rising, stronger, calmer, more united. And the galaxy was slowly turning its eyes toward it. The galaxy was quiet, not peaceful, not safe, just quiet. For almost 20 cycles after humanity left, the stars felt empty. Trade routes were weak. Border wars started again. Old enemies grew brave. The balance that humans once held together without force slowly broke apart. Many species did not admit it openly, but they missed them. They missed the strange human laughter in council halls. They missed their bold ideas. They even missed their stubborn arguments. Most of all, they missed the feeling that someone strong was watching the darkness. On the edge of the Andros Belt, a small mining colony sent out a distress signal. Pirates had attacked. The colony's shields were failing. The local patrol fleets were too far away. The signal echoed through space. No one answered. Then the pirates detected something strange. A jump signature. But it was not like any normal warp entry. It was silent. No energy flare. No warning spike. No gravitational ripple. Just arrival. A massive ship appeared between the pirates and the colony. Its hull was dark silver. Clean lines. No visible weapons. No glowing engines. On its side, written in simple letters, UNS Horizon. The pirates froze. Everyone in the galaxy knew that prefix. United Nations ship. Human. The pirate leader laughed nervously. It's one ship, he said. They left. They won't fight. The Horizon sent no message. No threats. No demands. It simply moved forward. The pirate ships locked weapons. Missiles fired. Laser cannons burned bright. The attack struck the human ship and vanished. Not blocked. Not absorbed. Vanished. As if space itself swallowed them. The pirate leader's hands began to shake. The Horizon raised one small device from its surface. It did not look like a weapon. It looked like a smooth ring. A pulse spread outward. No fire. No explosion. Just a wave. Every pirate ship shut down instantly. Engines dead. Weapons silent. Power gone. Drifting like broken toys. Then the Horizon transmitted one single message to all ships nearby. We protect civilians. Leave. That was all. No anger. No pride. No speech about justice. The pirates activated emergency cores and fled without resistance. The Horizon turned toward the colony. Repair drones launched from its hull. Shields were restored. Medical supplies were sent down. Still no speeches. Still no demands for payment. When the colony governor tried to open a channel, a human face appeared on screen. Calm, older, eyes steady. "Why did you come back?" the governor asked. The human officer answered simply, "We never stop watching." The message spread across the galaxy faster than any war signal. Humanity had not abandoned the stars. They had stepped back. They had grown stronger. They had evolved. Within days, other reports came in. A slave ring dismantled near the Karth Void. Human intervention. A rogue AI fleet neutralized near the Vex Corridor. Human signature technology. A dying star stabilized temporarily to allow evacuation. Human engineering. They moved quietly, precisely. They did not ask for leadership. They did not ask for control. They simply corrected what was broken. The Galactic Council called for an emergency session. This time, when the central chamber doors opened, a human delegation entered. But it was different now. They wore no military uniforms, no medals, simple dark suits with a small silver emblem, a circle around a star. The council members stood, not from fear, from respect. High speaker Tauren, older now, stepped forward. You left us, he said carefully. The human representative nodded. Yes. Why? Because you needed to see who you were without us. Silence filled the chamber. Tauren lowered his head slightly. And what did you see? The human paused. We saw courage. We saw failure. We saw growth. The galaxy is young. It makes mistakes. Tauren's voice grew softer. Will you lead us again? The humans shook their head. No. Murmurs spread across the chamber. We will stand beside you, the human continued. Not above, not below, beside. A hologram activated above them. New technology designs, shared defense grids, medical breakthroughs, faster travel methods, energy systems that did not harm stars, gifts, not control. You forgave us? Tauren asked quietly. The human's eyes showed something deep. We never hated you. Outside the council chamber, human fleets began rebuilding damaged regions, teaching new shield sciences, helping younger species defend themselves. But they also did something else. They limited their presence. They did not build bases everywhere. They did not place flags on worlds. They helped, then stepped back again. The difference was clear now. The galaxy did not depend on them anymore. It cooperated with them. Years later, a young alien student asked her teacher about the silence years. Why did humans leave without a word? She asked. The teacher smiled. Because sometimes the loudest lesson is silence. And why did they return? Because sometimes strength is not about leaving, but knowing when to come back. Far above that classroom, near the quiet edge of explored space, the UNS Horizon drifted calmly, watching, protecting, saying nothing. But this time the galaxy understood. Humanity did not need to shout. They did not need to conquer. They did not need to prove anything. Their silence had once shocked the galaxy. Now their presence gave it hope. And no one would ever take that for granted again. The stars were no longer quiet. They were steady. And somewhere in the dark, humanity kept watch, without saying one word.